Hi, beautiful souls, welcome. Namaste. For those of you that are new to my channel, I am Sadhana. Hi, I am a reader, intuitive reader and healer, and today yesterday actually, I decided to cull many decks in my library. And while I use most of the decks in my library, the ones that I am offering up today are ones that I've either used in the past and am no longer using, or my library is just too large. So these are up for sale. The prices are listed below, and I will endeavor to put some timestamps up afterwards for easy reference. Okay, so let's get to the decks, and I am going to be starting with Lenormand. And again, everything is listed below if you are interested. Now, this Lenormand deck, Under the Roses, and this was all set up for you. Sorry about this. I don't understand. Just bear with me, of course. Camera issues from the start. There we go. Okay. Under the Roses Lenormand is a wonderful Lenormand for beginners, in that if you have a mini deck, what you can do is place the mini deck on top of these cards. There is a perfect little space to place a mini deck on top of. And why you would want to do this is if you were starting to learn the Lenormand houses, and then you could have these cards set up, already the grand tableau set up on the table, and then place your mini deck on top. So I know some people use, what do you call them, like a Lenormand spreadsheet. But another way to do that is with a second deck on the table. And this one is just the perfect size for that. And this Lenormand deck, Under the Roses, comes with 3 alternate cards. And we have the lady and the child and the gentleman. And in all of the decks that I'm sharing with you today, I will include everything that I have, which is the extra cards, as well as the little white book, if there is a little white book, and anything else that goes with it. Okay. Hi, Entropy Apothecary, welcome. The second one, the second Lenormand, is an indie deck that I recently purchased. And since I did my Lenormand series, and if you haven't been working with Lenormand, I did a whole series on my channel, and pretty much everything I'm sharing with you today, you can go back and search on my channel, because there will be more videos and more information. This is by an indie creator, Logan Townsend, and Logan's Etsy shop is Lark and Legend. This is in brand new condition. I haven't worked with this deck. It comes in this gorgeous clamshell box. And I purchased this deck for the color. I love the pinks. There is, however, a few of the cards that just didn't sit with me. I'm more of a classic Lenormand style reader, and when cards go in a direction such as the whip card here, and there's a few of them that just didn't sit very well with me. These are gorgeous cards, gorgeous card stock. It's a really fun little color. You do have the playing card associations, and everything is nice and clear on the cards. It was just the alternate interpretation of the card that didn't really sit well with me, but they're really beautiful. And so the rider is the skater. So there's plenty, lots and lots of changes in this deck. Okay, and yeah, so there is a little white book and all of that. Okay. And, you know, I don't usually purchase decks on a whim and not research the deck, but for some reason I did in this case. I have a large number of Lenormand decks in my library, and I've decided to sell my Rana George Essential Lenormand. So if you look in the description box below, I believe it goes Tarot and then Oracle, Lenormand, and then books. And like I said, later I will put up timestamps, and I'm starting this video with Lenormand. And so this is the Rana George huge book. This is quite a tome, and it's very well organized. I think it's a great beginner Lenormand reference. And so this is for sale, as well as the Rana George Lenormand. Now, Rana George, if you aren't familiar with her, comes from a lineage of Lenormand readers. These are all extra cards that are in her deck. And it's kind of a special energy because I don't know where the deck went. Oh, here it is. It's like with her deck in her wisdom that's in the book, you are getting the information through generations of Lenormand readers. So even the little white book is very chunky in this deck. It comes in a 2-part box, and it's very glitzy, and the border is quite decorative. So there's your fox. The playing card associations, you can see the inserts, and then we have the number. And over on the top right corner, honestly, I can't remember what the other marking is. So this really is a beautiful system from a person who knows what she is talking about, knows what she is writing about. And I want to say there's a lot of integrity in this deck. It's a little glitzy for me. It's I don't want to say it's overcomplicated, but the borders just aren't really to my liking. But it's, yeah, I may actually regret releasing this, but it is going on its way. So both the extra book as well as the cards. And I will be packaging everything up so the cards don't slip in the box, and I really do take extra care with all of my packages. If you live in Canada and you're interested in multiple decks, there are great deals for shipping. Shipping one-offs is very expensive in Canada, and I will ship to the US, anywhere in the world if you want to pay for shipping. This is Sawyer's Lenormand. Now this is the first iteration of the deck, and I just checked Jamie Sawyer's Etsy page yesterday, and I see this deck is back out again, and I don't know if there are any changes between the first and the second edition. Okay, so it is very bright colors, and there are no playing card associations on this particular deck. The lady and the man are both, well, they're deer and buck. And the child is a sippy cup. And I believe this is one of the Lenormand decks I have shown in full. And many of the Lenormand decks in my collection you can find on my channel. And so if you are doing, it's really interesting, if you are doing searches on people's channels, it's probably best to go to Chrome. It does not work very well on Safari. And then you can look for specific words and themes in anybody's channel and search up more videos on any of these decks that I'm sharing with you today. Okay, I am a huge fan of Celia Melsville. Celia is out of France, and this is the first edition of the Tanis Lenormand. And I have her Lily White and Lily Black. I have had other oracles of hers as well too. So the Tanis Lenormand comes in a match box. And I've got a little organza bag. I think that might have come with it. And there is a little white book that comes with this as well too. And it is, let me get it out of there for you. Oh, and the extra, I've got the extra cards down below. I have gone through all of my stacks of extra cards to be sure that the extra cards are all included for you, okay? And the little white book is in, I believe it's in English and in, yes, on one side is in English and the other side is in French. I believe on the first edition of this deck there is an error, and that is one of the playing card associations. So one of the queens is not correct, and I'm hoping that indeed, I really like this Crossroads card. The reason I'm not keeping this deck is it is quite similar to the Dreaming Way Lenormand, and I decided to keep that one instead of this one. It's really interesting how Celia's artwork is so very different. This is a glossy finish, standard size Lenormand deck. So different in in all of her decks. Okay, so this is the Tanis Lenormand by Celia Melsville. And I have a few more Lenormand decks. So if I am releasing this many, you can only imagine how many Lenormand decks are in my library. And I tend to work with a few favorites. All right, so next up is a large Lenormand. And this, if you're working with a large Lenormand deck, you're probably not going to be doing a grand tableau. Probably you will be doing a smaller spread, 3-card or something. These ones are very big, and if you have, now I am drawing a blank. There is, I believe I purchased this deck to go with a tarot and oracle that I have in my collection. The backs are gorgeous. It's like you're looking at a stained glassed window. It's really pretty. There are no playing card associations, and there is a lot that is going on in the cards that could also be I would say this is not a beginner deck. It's not a beginner deck because in some cards it's not apparent what it is that you are looking at. So for example, in 36, which is the cross card, the first thing I see is a woman. By knowing that 36 is the cross and you see the 2 crosses above and there's a cross on her chest, you think it would be obvious, but in some of the cards it's not as obvious what it is you're looking at. It is, however, a really beautiful, beautiful deck. Large cards. Okay, so these would be standard oracle size cards. And the guidebook, I'll just give you an idea what's going on here because I think this is quite a good one. Yes, so this one, what it does offer is pair combinations for every single card, which is a lot of detail. I know that in the book Rana George large book that I just showed you, she also does this, and this is really useful for beginners because at one point I took some journals and I wrote, I had a page for every single Lenormand pair, and it just became that was just too much to do, and so my strategy for learning took a different direction. But it's nice to have reference books that have pairs, and of course there are multiple different ways to read combinations of cards. Yeah. All right, now I don't think you can get this deck anymore. This is the Blue Water Lenormand, and if you look down below, you'll see the creator's Etsy shop. And I fell in love with her Da Vinci Lenormand, and as a result, purchased a couple of other Lenormands from her. And this one, I just have too many, so this one's being released. This is Blue Water Lenormand. It's really pretty. And if you look in the scroll at the bottom, you see here, this is the Ace of Clubs. So if you're learning to read, or the learning to read with the playing card associations, they are here. They're a little challenging to see, but they're right there in the center beneath the scroll. And I don't believe, I went to her Etsy shop yesterday and there was nothing there. So I don't know why this creator is not, why her decks are no longer available. Isn't that beautiful? The dandelion. And if you're interested in any of these decks and I haven't shown a particular card, just shoot me a quick email and I will take a photo of the card that you are interested in, okay? And I will send that to you. Now, the next deck I have two versions of. This is a Scrying Ink Lenormand by Siolo Thompson. And Siolo Thompson is a creator. This comes, by the way, in a large bag. So there's a large bag that has the book and the deck. I don't know if this came with it, but I put the deck in a muslin bag. Siolo Thompson is the creator of the Linestrider Tarot, among other decks, and a bunch of oracles. Love her work, love her artwork. And I purchased her Scrying Ink Lenormand way back. And I'm not sure why, but I purchased the new version because it has numbers on it. And the older iteration that I have doesn't have the numbers, and so the artwork is closer up. And so I decided that I like the closer up artwork, and I'm keeping the older version of the deck and selling this newer version, which I haven't had for very long. And there were no changes in the deck, just that the numbers were added to the cards. And the guidebook is, I want to say it's quite thorough. For every single card, there are notes on career and personal and romance. There's a short list of keywords, okay? That is the Scrying Ink Lenormand by Siolo Thompson. Hi, Miss Moonlight Musing. Welcome. Okay, so those are all of the Lenormand decks. Okay, so now I'm going to transition to oracles. And there is a long list of oracles. Okay. This deck is the first edition of Deja Osborne's My Quality Time Self-Care deck. Now, if you go to Deja's website, the deck now is printed on different cardstock and it is edged. So the first edition does not have edges on it. At least that's what I saw on her website. And this is a really kind of beautiful deck. I think this would be really good for a younger person. Great, Miss Moonlight. Come back and leave me a message if you have questions about any of these decks, or you would like to see any particular cards. It's called My Quality Time Self-Care Activity Book. Deja has, so her name is Deja Osborne and her website is Deja Drew It. So you can, yeah, she's got quite a collection of decks out there now. I do have her personal power oracle, which resonates with me a little more than this one. I mean, I love these cards. They're really beautiful. And if I don't sell them, I will. I would definitely gift this one to one of my daughters. I think she would. That's actually who I bought it for in the first place. Okay. Now, are you familiar with Rebecca Lefebvre? Rebecca Lefebvre. Her website is called aveclavie.com. And Rebecca has the most beautiful decks that are available as mini decks and full size. And the ones that I have, the full size decks, come on like a washi paper, a watercolor paper. And I kind of went nuts when I first found Rebecca and purchased every single deck that she has. And the two that I'm showing you here are junior decks. So there's 35 cards, and these ones are not on washi paper. They're on a, oh gosh, what do you call it? Like rose petal finish, okay? See, oh, sorry, I need to turn the deck over. That's what it is. So these are the backs. I thought that these would make lovely gifts for an elementary school teacher, or maybe even, I don't know, in some sort of therapy. I think they would make lovely writing prompts, and maybe not even necessarily for juniors, because they are, I don't know, the art is, and you'll see the animal, I'll show you the animal deck as well too. There's just something about the simplicity of the art. And I'm sorry, there's a bit of a shadow here. I'm gonna move all of these oracles and then we'll get more light on my table. Just have a lot. That should help a little bit. So yeah, so this is the Flora Friends Junior deck. And I don't think these decks are available anymore. I know she was thinking about releasing them on different paper, perhaps in boxes. They didn't come at boxes. Hey there, Libra. Pamela Bartel, welcome. Okay, so this is one, and then the other is the, and I've put these in cotton goosey bags, the Fauna Friends, and this one is a little more colorful. And I have a whole bunch of these. I can give you one of those with both of the decks. And these are really, really beautiful. There's Elephant. And I suppose that this rose petal finish would make sense for sticky little fingers. You know, if you were a teacher or you were passing these out, like if you were doing some kind of therapy, you know, other people, the rose petal doesn't tend to show fingerprints. They're a really beautiful quality of card. And each of these decks has, I believe, 35 cards. And so it's not meant to be complicated, right? These are, you're meant to feel the art and write and respond from your heart. Or just draw one. Put it on your altar or your child's bedside table or wherever you would like to use them. All right, let's get the rest of these out of the way. Now, I showed you Siolo Thompson's Scrying Ink Lenormand. And this, I believe, is her newest deck, the Winter Seer Animal Oracle. And all of her decks are in these large Llewellyn boxes with the magnetic closure, not the old Llewellyn boxes. And Siolo writes an amazing guidebook. And I don't know if you can, there is a lot of info about each. I'm not sure why I'm releasing this. This is gorgeous. Oracular information, as well as how to use this card in a reading. And I guess I'm releasing this because I honestly just have too many decks. And I am going to be keeping her plant deck because it's the one I resonate with the most. And so you have a keyword on each deck, on each card. They are not numbered, but I believe I will double check for you. The guidebook is in alphabetical order, which is kind of necessary if they are not numbered. Yes, so the guidebook is in alphabetical order. And she does. She writes a beautiful, beautiful guidebook. Probably for, I want to say, not this one because this one came to me a little bit later. Her first deck that I had, the Linestrider, which I am releasing today, is I read for probably a year exclusively. There's something very gentle about her artwork, that these watercolor splashes that are in the background, and her choice of interpretation is really, it's really beautiful. Yeah. Okay, I need to create a pile here for large boxes. So that's the Winter Seer Oracle by Siolo Thompson. Now, you would think, me being a yogi and having done my Tarot Through the Chakras courses that I offered on Zoom and different things, that this would be a deck that I resonate with. I believe I saw this deck on, I know, I can see her face, it'll come to me. This was, you know, somebody made me do it kind of a deck. And the trouble is that I have taken chakra courses in India. I have done very deep chakra sadhanas with some pretty amazing teachers, and this is it's a great guidebook. It offers lots of information, especially if you are new on this journey and you're looking for more of a an Indian perspective rather than a Western perspective. But it does stray a little bit from some of the things that I have studied. These are the backs. They are gorgeous. And the deck is organized right in chakras. So you can see here that the bar on the bottom is color-coded, right? So the red bars will be Muladhara Chakra, and in Muladhara Chakra we have right action. So right away, I'm assuming red is Muladhara, but let's just double check. No, red is Manipura. Okay, so that makes sense for right action, because I was going to say, yes, so red is solar plexus chakra, right action is solar plexus chakra. Muladhara Chakra, the root chakra, is yellow. So these colors may be a little different than you're used to. So there's the red cards for Muladhara Chakra, and we have fortune. So yes, money is definitely part of Muladhara. Challenge, creation, security, that definitely works. Grounding, strength, and fear. And yeah, the book is really well written, and like I said, the reason I'm releasing it is that in several different ways it just doesn't fit with the way that I teach the chakras. However, it is a beautiful deck, a beautiful offering. Okay, now this one is a bit of a collectible. This is the heart of the Faerie Oracle, and from time to time you can find it for a good price. And I purchased this deck. I actually came across it. Well, I haven't used it. And I purchased it for a specific intention and didn't end up using it. So because I'm sure you would much rather have untouched cards, I am not going to show you the cards today, but I am going to show you that the cards are still in their paper seal and they have not been used. And this beautiful deck, let me back up a little bit here, comes with a hardcover book. And there are, of course, it's new. There's no markings in the book. And I know this is a very popular deck with some people, and I know that I won't use it. I have a couple of Fae decks that I do use, and I'm gonna pass this one on. And I have not cracked the spine or anything. It's in really beautiful condition. All right, and then let's go to this one. So this is an offering by Wasima. Wasima has a YouTube channel. She is a resource for many decks in the EU. Beautiful soul. We definitely jibe on a lot of our shamanic experiences and teachings. And this is one of many decks that she created, and this one's called the Nest of Light Oracle. It looks a little bit like that Deja Osborne deck that I showed you, but it has more of a spiritual lean to it. And so we have all kinds of spiritual practices included in this deck. So there is a crystal singing bowl. There's a Tibetan singing bowl. There's cards of meditation and prayer, connection with nature. This card actually, this one's called Blue Flame. I don't know if you have the Oracle by One is called the Cosmic Oracle, and the other is, I use them in my Reiki practice a lot. Anyway, this deck reminds me of those. And these are linen. They are linen with very small corner rounding, really high quality cards. So if you like to riffle shuffle, you can riffle shuffle away here. And I have the sticker that came with it for Wasima's business, and it is in French and in English, the guidebook. English first and then French. So for example, for this one, Metatron's Cube. The Metatron Cube is one of the most powerful symbols of sacred geometry, and she goes on to explain its meaning, right? So they're quite succinct descriptions. So there's definitely place in this deck for your intuition. So we have blue flame, violet flame, your altar. There's quite a few altar cards in this deck. And I think also these cards might inspire you to take your altar to the next level, or to explore spiritual practices in a different way. Yeah. Okay, so that is Nest of Light. And another deck that I thought I would use more is the Gita Oracle. If you are studying the Bhagavad Gita, so if you're a yoga student, you're studying the Bhagavad Gita, I think this is a great deck to perhaps draw a card and then go to the Gita and sit in reflection of the artwork as well as the interpretation that's on the back. Another nice thing here too is you have the Devanagari, so you have the Indian script, and you have a translation, and you also have the chapter in the Gita in what do you even call it? Like in translation, so you can actually read it if you can't read the Devanagari. These translations are very short, and what you might want to do then is use one of these cards as inspiration for a more in-depth translation of the Gita that you have. And I should say the Bhagavad Gita, right? So this is not the Guru Gita, this is the Bhagavad Gita. Yes. The artwork is beautiful. It really is. Honestly, I should probably keep this, but we'll see. We'll see if what decks people are interested in purchasing. Yeah. All right. This is the pocket version of the Wild Kuan Yin. And this, I would say, is more than a Kuan Yin deck. This is a Divine Feminine deck. A deck of the Divine Feminine. This is a very empowering deck. I could see this deck being great for somebody who needed a some empowerment. They were feeling a little bit beat up, and it's just really full of, let me zoom in a little bit, powerful images of the Divine Feminine. And some of the cards are horizontal and some of them are vertical. And the artwork is stunning. It really is. This one's called Oasis of Hope. I'll read you a couple of the I'll read you one of the descriptions on the back. Love this one. This is gorgeous. Look at this. The strength of you. It's like she's dancing with the full moon. Look at this one with the three sisters. It's so pretty. The strength of you. Are you doubting your ability to heal or recover? There is nothing that has fundamentally damaged your spirit, your will, or your heart. No matter how broken those parts of you may feel at times, they have only ever been broken to heal stronger. They have not been broken beyond repair and never will be. The sister card is called You Are One of a Kind. Yeah. So this is the Wild Kuan Yin, and I believe it is an Alana Fairchild deck. So if you have, it should say on the box. Just bear with me here. Yes, Alana Fairchild. Now, if you like the words of Alana Fairchild, but you don't care for the, in most Alana Fairchild Oracle decks, you have a lot to read. There are pages and pages and pages for every single card. So this one's actually kind of refreshing because it gives you an opportunity to work with the cards in a way that resonate with you rather than the in-depth experience of larger Alana Fairchild guidebooks. Yeah. And you get a few short, probably the initial paragraph that would come in a larger guidebook. The next oracle is also from Blue Angel. It's called Oracle of the Hidden Worlds. In the guidebook, there's a small black and white. So this is 17 fairy energies. So you get 2 pages per card. This was another deck that somebody made me do it. These are the card backs. And I believe this is another deck where some of the cards are horizontal and some of them are vertical. I'll show you a few horizontals first. This is definitely a sort of 7th chakra kind of deck. It's really beautiful. It's intensely spiritual. I don't know, I think I would this is a great card. The Relics of Lemuria. Healing of the Earth. And here's a few vertical cards. The Angel Gate. The Healing Temple of the Lunar Light. This is a Lucy Cavendish guidebook. Light Dancer. I think this one is really cool. This is called Sacred Journey. The Tree of Illumination. Homeward Traveler. And this card gets me every time. The Gathering. So that is Oracle of the Hidden Worlds by Lucy Cavendish. And in a very different energy, I purchased this deck to accompany the Santa Muerte tarot deck. and I just didn't feel that it matched that deck very well. So this could stand alone as its own oracle. However, I have a lot of oracle decks, and so this one is another one that's brand new. I've never used it. I've just leafed through it. It is intensely saturated color. These are the backs. So the back of the cards create a Ouija board, which is kind of fun. There's no keywords on the cards. And I'm just going to go to the guidebook just so you get a flavor of what is going on here. So let's go to 18. 18 is emotions. That's the one in the center. Sorry, didn't center those very well. Sentiments, fluid and changeable, like water. They are the aspects that characterizes this card both positively and negatively. Our emotions are the main source of our moods, our joys, and our pains. And then it goes on, and then at the end there is a little paragraph or a sentence that is the advice of the dead. Remember to put your heart into what you're doing, otherwise the results will be exclusively tied to the satisfaction of your ego and will stagnate in a swamp. And I believe both the art well, all of the decks from Lo Scarabeo, of course, probably are created in Italian and then translated. And so the name of the translator is part of the Lo Scarabeo team. Turn that one the right way. This is a wild, wild deck. Wow. And so there's now, these cards are more scenic, so you can see a landscape. This is an interesting card with the altar. Yeah. Okay, so that is Santa Muerte Oracle. Now, this is one of many decks and books I have by John Matthews with artwork by Will Worthington. If you are studying OMs, and that is part of your practice, there are OMs on all of these cards, and this oracle would definitely supplement that. It comes in a, I know what you call this. Do you call this Matchbox style, where it slides off? Now, I know this oracle also went by a different name previously. It's changed names a couple of times. And in each of the trees, you see the green man. It's actually haunting. It says ancient wisdom from the green man and the Celtic Ogham tree alphabet. And I believe, so here you have the Ogham alphabet at the beginning. And I have dog-eared a couple of these pages. And there's quite a, you know, if you're studying the Oghams, this is a great, great oracle to have. There's more than, so there's 3 pages, looks like. 3 pages for each card. This is a small deck. This is a small deck. So this would supplement other tree oracles that you have, as well as working with Oghams. And if you like the artwork of Will Worthington, then you'll love this little deck. Scotch pine, rowan. This one's beautiful, birch. And then you can see the green man in all of the trees. I like this one. I like this one a lot. And when I say this is a smaller deck, 25 cards. And the guidebook is definitely worth its weight. This works really well with the Druid Plant Oracle, for sure. And if you're working with Druid Animal and don't have Druid Plant, this would be a nice deck to pair with that as well. Also with artwork by Will Worthington, right? I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. And the last oracle that I have, I'm sure you all have seen, this is the medicine cards. I have not used this. Like the Brian, I was going to say Brian Froud. Yes, that's the right word. This oracle also comes with a hardcover book. And so you really, I would say that you are purchasing this deck for the book. All right, so here is the owl card. So there's a poem and then description, and then there is some. I haven't worked with this deck, and I thought I would, but uh-oh. Okay, it looks like that camera has dropped, and I don't know why. It doesn't make sense. Just bear with me. Sorry about this. Uh-oh. What should we do here? Okay, I'm just going to keep talking for a second here. And uh-oh, no, I don't want to do that. All right, so let's just, maybe we can add the camera a different way. I will breathe. I will breathe. I'll add the camera back. All is well. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I probably won't edit this out later, but I will endeavor to do that if I okay. Oh, now it's back on. Okay. All right, apparently it's working now. Now you get to see my whole setup here. Let's see if I can do this very carefully. Oh, technology. Technology. Friday. Friday, I am going to be on my channel and talking about my experience with 5 years on YouTube. If any of you are interested in hearing that journey, it's my 5-year channelversary. Carefully opening these cards. I'm sure you've all seen these cards, but I will. And this is another set that it's never been used. I have gone through the cards. I have a few different decks that I use with my shamanic practice, and I thought that I would have the time to study this deck, but I haven't gotten to that yet. And I sort of have this policy that if I don't touch something within a year, that it doesn't need to hang around. So yeah, and there are a lot. There's a lot of animals in this deck. There are, if I look at the back of the box, it doesn't say. Okay. There's a lot. Maybe we can find a number. So 40s, I'm guessing there's about 50 cards in this deck. Yeah, with a beautiful hardcover book. Now this deck is being re-released, and I sure hope that the new version of the deck comes with a hardcover book, because the book is just, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, so that is all of the oracles. Okay. And okay. Okay, so now we are going to go to tarot, and they are all behind me here, so I'm going to be reaching back and forth. This is the third section, and there is also one book in this section as well too. And I have a few collectibles here that I am releasing. Okay. Siolo Thompson. There was a period of time where I was using her decks a lot, and her work is really beautiful, but I'm not using her decks anymore. This is, so I may as well show you both of them. This is the Otherkin and the Linestrider. The Linestrider Tarot is more closely Rider-Waite-Smith based, and the Otherkin, I want to say, is more mythological based. Okay, so a lot of anthropomorphization in this particular deck. This Linestrider deck I used, like I said, for about a year exclusively, and Siolo's guidebooks, all of them are fantastic. She does a really good job in making the cards, because so her decks work in liminal space. They work in the space between here and there. And she really, so this is the Linestrider. She really does, in her descriptions, help you to understand what her intention was for each of the cards. This is a very gentle deck, and it's really intuitive. I had amazing responses to this deck when I used it. And most people that I read for, even those who were readers themselves, had never seen this work, and Siolo really, this reminds me of, the tower card reminds me of a, right, it's like it's in Japan, it's a temple in Japan. The moon. So very familiar iconography. With gentle watercolors. And then there is on my channel, if you're interested, there is a side-by-side, and later on I can come back and put links up above. There is a side-by-side of Otherkin and Linestrider. And this one is white, the background is white, and this one, the background is more tea stained. And you probably can't catch that on the camera. And I feel like this one is taking me on a walk through, I don't know, like an old English satire children's book sort of thing. You know, we have, we could have gone through The Looking Glass. We could be in any of those old classic children's books where the animals talk and teach us great lessons. Like, I'm thinking of Mr. Toad. Yeah. It's a very clever deck. Very clever. And I haven't used this one as much as I have used Linestrider, so the cards are in great shape. Okay. That is the Otherkin and the Linestrider by Siolo Thompson. Okay, lost the box. There we go. Now, the next one is a collectible. This is also a deck that I haven't used. I think I purchased it as a collectible, and I didn't think it was going to be as dark as it is. It's just too dark for me. So, and let's back up just a little bit. This one is 1759 of 2,999. And like all Los Scarabeo decks, the book comes in multiple languages, and I'm not going to break the spine there because it's new. These are the card backs. And these are larger cards. I'll show you in a second. I'll put a standard size tarot deck up here. And you can see the suit symbol on the bottom. So these are all pentacles. This is 6, 7, and 8 of pentacles. There's 14, 13, and 12 majors. Okay, so these are big cards. Can you see that? Let's go on the back. This is Future Ancestor, right? So it's these are big cards. And I don't know if the coloration is different in the mass market version that is available now. Hi, Georgia. Welcome. Oh, this is Amy. Hi, Amy. Love your new channel name. So yeah, this is, it's a little, yeah, this is just, it's just not a deck that I would I had no idea it was going to be this dark. I liked the box and I liked that it was a special edition, and I thought perhaps maybe it was something I would work with at Samhain or something, but I don't think so. So there you go. Now here is another little kind of bizarre deck that I actually made a mistake of purchasing this one. Another one where I didn't do my research. I have the AlcheMystical Tarot. And there are a few cards in the AlcheMystical Tarot that I sought out. Because I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have the whole deck? And this is one of them. However, the card in the AlcheMystical Tarot that is included is actually not one of these cards. This is a Fournier deck. You can see the little white book there. So this is all in great shape. Haven't read with this. I have all the extra title cards and stuff. Super colorful. This is a pip deck, and it's full of really funky and bizarre it's bizarre. Bizarre is a great word for it. Here is the Ten of Swords. Now, why did I purchase this? So I want to show you. This has to do with the Tiger card. I mean, some of the cards are just stunning. They really are. And I love the size of Fournier decks. They're just a little bit smaller, and there's a Dharma card. This has iconography from all over the world, all kinds of culture. I will do my best to make the gaps less. Yeah. Thank you, Entropy Apothecary. Yeah. And so here you can see Hanuman. And there is actually a really good little website about the creator of this deck, and he has illustrated a lot of different magazines and things like that. He's a very well-known artist. Now, the next tarot that I'm showing you is called the Numinous Tarot. And the version that I have and that I'm showing you here is, I believe, the original version. It does have gold sides. And when I supported the Kickstarter, I purchased 2 copies. And then later on, I went back to Cedar's website and I purchased 2 bags. You won't be getting this bag. You'll get this bag, which is the card backs. And the price that is below, I have to change by $5 just to include the price of the bag. And the deck that I have for sale has never been opened, never been touched. It is still in its cello package. Okay? And it comes in a large box with a large guidebook. And the edges are shiny gold. And the suits have been changed. So the suit of Pentacles is books, tomes. This is an extremely diverse deck. And there are quite a few changes in titles in this deck. So instead of High Priestess, we have the Diviner. And on On the box, it will say that the deck is not by Cedar McCloud, because Cedar changed their name. Cedar was formerly known as Noel Helmpel. And so you are getting perhaps a collectible. Yeah. And it does have an extra card. I believe this is the 79th card. And I do have a magnet for you, as well as, I believe, there's a couple of extras. And I'm not sure as well, too, what's inside the large box. Okay. Now, the next deck is the Essential Tarot. If you are beginning your journey with pip decks, this might be a really good deck for you. The suits are color-coded, and there is not a lot on each of the, this is a low Scarabeo deck, on each of the cards. These are the card backs, and each of the cards is presented within a frame. And the deck, like I said, is color-coded. So I believe all of the aces are pink, all of the twos are blue, all of the threes are, I believe. And also you'll find correspondences in some cases to the major arcana. So if I go through and I look for the Hierophant may also be in yellow. So you can see the Five of Pentacles also has a yellow tinge to it. And in some cases, the color, these are majors. There is Hermit, Judgment, World. In some cases, the major arcana colors match up with, so the Hanged Man is yellow, which is a 12. The Sun is yellow. I was just looking to see if the Hermit is, not the Hermit, the Hierophant. So yes, so the Hierophant is also yellow. So this is a deck that I think it's quite thoughtful in the way that the colors also signal correspondences. Pablo Monti is the creator of this low Scarabeo deck. Okay. Now, maybe surprising to you, I am selling the Mara Luna Tarot. It comes in a tin box, and this is a very gentle deck. I believe it's a very popular deck. What has happened recently in my own tarot journey is I have been doing more of a deep dive into the I don't know, I want to maybe esoteric tarot, Golden Dawn associations. I'm looking for a little bit more in a tarot deck, so this is actually would be a great beginner deck. And this is interesting. So when I got this deck, the smell of the print was unbearable. And now it has, obviously that is dissipated. So there's actually an advantage in buying this slightly used deck from me. You have a bar on the bottom, very subtle with the titles, so it doesn't interfere with the artwork. All very gentle colors, highly recognizable RWS artwork. And I did have a little chit chat with the creator of this deck, and she had a hard time answering some of my questions. So this deck, I want to say, is quite intuitive and based on, you know, there's a whole body of decks out there that are variations on the Waite-Smith deck, and this is one of those. For example, I asked her about the facings in this deck, the forward facings, the right and the left, if there was any indication of future or past and so forth. And that wasn't something that she had considered in the creation of this deck. So this is the Mara Lunne Tarot by L.S. Grainne. Yeah. Okay, so the next deck is the AlcheMystical Tarot. This is another deck that is not available. I did link below the link to the Kickstarter page. Now, I did not get this through the Kickstarter campaign. And I believe at one time it was available for purchase, but then, and I don't know if it will be available again. This deck has more suits and more cards. And it, to me, looks a little bit like Danielle Noel's work. That's what it looks like a little bit to me. Here is the Emperor. So there, it's photorealistic, photo collage. And there are extra cards, there are extra court cards, and the system of the tarot is explained very well in the little white book. And there are keywords on each of the cards. And I know some people really like that. That does help with this. And so, hi, Tarot Jackpot, welcome. I think that this deck is very much, if you like the Hay House, there are some Hay House decks that really have this sort of flavor, and it is a Hay House deck sort of size as well too. It is not published by Hay House, I don't believe. Definitely looks like it is. Like the box is a Hay House size box for a larger oracle, because there are so many cards in this deck. Now there's some really, like, this is 8 of water, like this, it's kind of touching. And so there is another suit, suit of spirit. So here is Ace of Spirit and 7 of Spirit. And of course the court cards are changed as well too. There are in total, gosh, I don't know, there must be over 100 cards in this deck. Quite a project, and it has matte gold on the side. Okay. This is a book. I do not have a second tarot deck. If you have taken your study of tarot esotericism to the next level, this book actually stands on its own. You could have this book and then decide to purchase the deck at a later date. This, you know, if you're working with the Crowley Tarot or other Golden Dawn decks, there are certain things that you have learned about Tree of Life connections. And I want to say you've probably learned about that in different decks as well too. But Tarot of the Holy Light introduces different systems, different associations, different Tree of Life interpretations, and it is such a thorough tome. This is something that I would I would say you would take, you know, a year or more to dive into. And at the beginning of the book, it does go into great detail about where this, where Tarot of the Holy Light is coming from. And this goes way back in time, talks about the original pack of playing cards, tarot and occult modeling, tree or tetractys. Like this is, it's very, and I have a copy of this book. This is a second copy of the book, and I don't need 2 copies. So this is, just to be clear, a book only, no, no cards. Yeah. Yes, many, many unused. Now this Lisa Hunt, for those of you that are Lisa Hunt fans, this one, I couldn't find this deck on Amazon.ca any longer. I did find it on Amazon.com. This might be something you want to add to your collection for Halloween, for Samhain. It is a US Games deck. And if you are a fan of the artwork of Lisa Hunt, you love this deck. I think that this particular deck, if it were available with a large guidebook, would be amazing to really get into the history of the art that Lisa is sharing, like the intention for each of, I mean, it's, I would say until you really got to know this deck, that until you really got to know this deck, you would do single card draws with this to really get familiar with its suits and its characters. Oh my goodness, look at this card. I have not read with this deck. I bought this as a, and I searched actually high and low for this deck. It wasn't available for the longest time. And I can't remember where I bought it, but it's new. It's new. It's not a counterfeit. As I was doing the research to prepare for the, I'm gonna get out the little white book. If it's not here, sorry, I'll have to look at it later. As I was preparing for this video today, I was searching on Amazon to see if these decks were still available or not. And I just want to, I know most of you are aware, you need to be really, really careful to make sure you are purchasing a deck from US Games or Llewellyn, or you're not purchasing a knockoff, because they are everywhere and there are multiple versions of knockoffs. And I want to say most of the decks that are available on Amazon, there is an authentic deck and there is also a knockoff. Yeah, so be careful. Be careful. You want to be supporting the creators of these great decks, not supporting the counterfeit companies. I have 2 Bubba Studios decks. The Alice Tarot, which I use a lot, and the Fantastic Menagerie, which I have leafed through, and I maybe did a reading once when I first got it, but I have not used this deck. And so I am selling this deck. Now this is the 2nd edition. It is cold stamped. I don't believe the 1st edition was cold stamped. And the little white book is in perfect condition. And this is The cold stamping is gorgeous on this deck. Now, the Fantastic Menagerie is based on the artwork, the children's artist J.J. Grandville. And so if you are a lover of old children's books and that classic kind of artwork, this deck would really, really speak to you. This deck presently is out of print, but as you are aware, from time to time, Baba Studios does re-release their decks. And along with this, I also have the extra companion book. Okay, so the price below includes the extra companion book as well as the cards. And I'm sure you're familiar with these books, right? They have color illustrations. They are printed on semi-gloss paper, and so much information. So much information. Yeah. Yeah. So, sorry if you can hear my dog. She is drinking her water. Now, the next deck that I have. Now, this is a trimmed version of the Marielle Tarot. When the second edition of the Marielle was going out of print, I purchased a backup copy of the first edition. And I've just decided I don't need a Marielle in cellophane on my shelf. So this is a brand new copy of the first edition. And this would be the iteration that was available, the last iteration that was available. Okay, so it did come in a couple of different forms. It does say first edition, but I know the first edition was reprinted a few times, and it does have, I believe, shiny gold edges. Now, I trimmed mine and I put I colored this side myself, so it doesn't match up perfectly because this is more matte and this is more shiny. And a lot of people were still looking for the first edition because some of the cards, of course, in the second edition were changed. And that was the Hierophant card, which is 1. I'll just see if I can get them for you quickly. I should have put them on the top. I mean, this is such an iconic deck. I read with this deck all of the time. And there's one. Okay, so the second edition has a different Hierophant card and a different Judgment card. I believe I've already leafed through that. So it's not the same as the first edition. It is a completely different card stock. The second edition has really, can I say this, really shitty card stock, and the second edition has silver edges, and I don't know why in the world it has silver edges. So yeah, another card that was changed. I believe there's 3 or 4 cards that were changed. I did a whole deep dive into this deck on my channel, and if you have never worked with the Marielle Tarot, this is one that you kind of need to be ready for, but you need to also be willing to spend some time with. And there's probably about 20 videos of the Marielle on my channel if you're interested. And then the last deck that, for now, is one that I haven't had for too long. This was another Kickstarter purchase, and this is the Sefirot Tarot. This is not just a tarot deck. This is also a game board and a massive book. So this is the deck itself, and you can read with this tarot just as a tarot. For sure, you can do that. And if you're interested in seeing the game board and all of that, I'll show you really quickly right now, but I'd have a whole video and I will link all of that above later. So this is a pip deck, and we have gold foil, and I have hardly used it, so the edges are still kind of sticking together. It's really kind of beautiful. It's really kind of beautiful. In a way, can I say it reminds me of the Field Tarot a little bit? Maybe. Maybe. There's some, like the court cards are really beautiful. Here's the aces are stunning. There's the Ace of Cups. You've seen lots of pentacle cards. There's our Cancer card for the Decan right now. So yeah, so that is, and I'm going to show you the book. And then I'm going to flip the camera so you can see this. Okay, so this is the box for the game, and you know it's a huge box like you would have for a Trivial Pursuit or something, and it has the folded game board and the instructions for the game, and it also comes with a mini deck. So there's a little mini deck that you can use on the game board when you're playing with the game board. And like, this is a huge thing. Like, I was really excited about this, but I don't think I'll ever use it. It also has this huge, like a children's picture book that talks about the development of this project. Hi, Ange. And do you mind just sending me an email? And then if you want to send me an e-transfer, I'll package that up for you, okay? So there you go. There you go. And I think what I will do is take a little bit of time now, and I will actually, I'll wait for the video to process, because if I do it now, it'll take me forever with the video unprocessed, and then I'll put up the timestamps so you can navigate through this a lot faster if you're looking to see specific decks, okay? Email, and I'll just make sure that is crystal clear how to contact me. I think it's, yes, it's in the banner down below. So just shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to get back to you today, or whenever you send that email. If you are in Canada, it's those bulk boxes are the best way to send stuff. So if you're buying 2 or 3 decks, the postage is way cheaper. A US is fine. The postage is very reasonable. Overseas, that's a whole other thing. So let me know. And thanks so much for hanging out with me here today while I went through all of these many boxes. Take good care, and I'll see some of you tomorrow. Bye for now. Namaste.